All new Chicago Wednesday on City TV or stream it on City TV Plus.
This is a brain in urgent need of mental health care. But because 3 out of every 4 Indigenous people experience racism in healthcare, she may not get the help she needs. Become an ally. Rise above racism in healthcare.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Out of the Fog. I'm your host, Laurabel Mweemba, and happy Black History Month. For all of you tuning in, it is February, which means we are officially celebrating Black History Month, which means anytime you see my face on your screen for this month, we are going to be joined by amazing Black folks of the province who are continuing to make an impact and improve it for all of us. And to kick it off, I'm so excited to bring you the Black Youth Panel, starting with 4 amazing individuals who I'm so excited to introduce you to. We'll start off with Wes, who's doing computer engineering at Memorial University, who's originally from Ghana. I'm also joined by Alice, who is a physical education teacher, who's also from Ghana. I'm joined by Francis, who's currently the chair of the Black Students Association at Memorial University, originally from Nigeria. I'm joined by John, who is a former Human Rights Award winner, originally from Zambia, and he is working in HR. Folks, thank you for joining me. So, to kick it off, I sent you all a list of questions, but I'm really excited to dive into them and get your opinion on what the Black experience is like for people here within Newfoundland and Labrador. And I guess the first question I'm going to ask you is, how do you celebrate and accentuate your Blackness, we'll call it, in a predominantly white space? And I think I'm going to start with you, John.
Sure. Right off the bat, I will say that, sometimes, at least from my experience, I didn't have a strong Black community because I was born in Zambia, raised in the UK, and then came here when I was 14. So I was predominantly in white spaces. So from the beginning, I didn't have the opportunity to engage the Black community. So first I would say is, find your sense of identity in your Blackness. And that sounds, very cliche, but, sometimes we don't accept that at a young age, and it's difficult to kind of come to terms with that. But, you need to find your identity there first. And I would say after that, finding community, finding, your passions and seeing it through and building community with the black spaces. And I'd say after that, I think one of the most important things is, celebrate Black things. It sounds kind of cliche that, Black History Month, but, really, really understand the great things Black people have done, engage with that and, take pride in these kind of things. And I think that's some of the things I've done to engage with Black identity and Black culture.
Francis, how about you?
I would say that for me, it's just basically being myself, because I'm from Nigeria, and then for me, it's just like doing my hair, little things that's been a girl, my nails, very long. And then just making sure that I'm always in the right space with my friends. Even being the president of BSA really gives me an opportunity to kind of express what we should do every year, try to implement events that people can look up to, they can be in safe space. I think that for me, just to be able to be very comfortable in my Blackness and in a very big world today. So I think just be yourself, know yourself, be yourself, and know the power that you have. I think that's the best thing.
And Wes, I wanted to get your take on that.
I really like what Francis said, and I sort of want to build on top of that. I feel like, or at least in my experience, there's a lot of Black students, particularly international students, who have not had experience or been used to being in predominantly non-Black spaces, tend to shy away from being around people who don't look like them or don't really understand them, the way they speak, their experiences, their opinions, etc. But I feel like as a Black person, it's very important to own the space wherever you are, even if there aren't a lot of Black people there. I try my best to personally try to sort of be there as if I belong, own the space as if it was meant for me, because at the end of the day, I do belong there, and the fact that not everybody there is Black does not mean that I shouldn't be myself or that I'm less of who I am or where I've come from.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So Alice, I had a different take on this question for you when we chatted. I wanted to know what cultural practices or traditions are most important to you and how are you integrating them into your daily life, especially in predominantly white spaces?
Okay. I mean, for everybody here can relate to this. So back home, you get people to speak your language with. Here, there are times where you meet Ghanaian people or meet people from back home where you can speak your language with. Another one has to do with the food that we eat. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure that everything that I eat in my house is something from home. Once in a while, I eat something outside. I then also try to connect with other people from our community where we can get a time to talk about what is going on back home. And the last one will be, of course, our dressing. So for me, anytime I go to church, I try to put on traditional wear, something that reminds me about my culture back home. And the last one has to do with our culture with politeness. It's something that we do back home, like it's how to address people, how to relate with people. And it's something that never left me, that I try to still impact it or use that being here. Yeah.
For you, Frances, do you think there are any other cultural aspects from back home that have now become essential in how you live your day to day?
Honestly, I would say the same thing. For me, it's basically just cooking food. I'm not eating anything apart from like my food for the past 2 years. Whether it's just making Nigerian stew, making Nigerian jollof rice, or even the egusi, things that I know that are like accessible to me right now in St. John's. And I think the more important thing is the culture and the religion aspect, because I'm Christian, so I think I always make sure that like I keep up with that aspect as well when I came here. And I think for me, it's just making sure that like I have those things that I was still living with when I was back home, and just keeping that same thing when I'm here, which is the respect as well. So.
Absolutely. So the next question I have has to do with education, since most of you are in some way involved in the education system here. So sharing your own experiences, what have been some positives that you've experienced with the Newfoundland Labrador education system? And what have been some areas you think there has been room to grow, especially as a Black individual navigating higher education? And I think I'm going to start with Wes for this question.
Positive experiences with the education system. Well, I'm in a co-op program, which I believe has been so helpful for an international student who lives and supports themselves. So when I'm on work terms, I get to obviously save while I'm learning ahead for other semesters, so I don't have to rely so much on, assistance from back home, even though I have family that sponsors my tuition, but all my personal expenses, so bills, feeding, etc., all of these things are things that I can cover because of the co-op program that comes with Memorial's, or at least some of Memorial's programs. Regarding negative experiences, I don't necessarily think that they may be specific to me being a Black person, but it may be a bigger conversation around being an international student, because I feel like, one, simply for the fact that we pay way more than the, Newfoundlanders or Canadians, but I also feel like there are less resources financially for some of us who do experience all kind of catastrophic events that sort of handicap us financially, and we may need some sort of bursaries, but it's for the simple fact that we pay so much more, we don't have assistance that sort of matches up to what is required of us in that way. So yeah, those are my experiences.
I'm going to come back to you, Alice, but I want to get John's take on it. What have been some of your positives, and what have been some areas you think there has been room to grow?
I think more the positives I've seen in the more post-secondary aspect of my education. I would say I'm a political science student originally in my undergrad, and I've seen a lot of growth in that department and in the history. We've kind of had time to realize Black history isn't talked about, and there have been changes, and there have been a lot of expansion in terms of the department with talking about these things. We've actually undergone 2 courses in my last year, actually, discussing Black history in Canada and slavery and the transnorth Atlantic slave trade. So that's something that that was not around for, I think, ever really at MUN. And now having the opportunity to see that and learn about it, and some of the stuff discussed in that course, I didn't get the chance to even see. So it was really positive. But from a negative side, I would say, growing up through, high school and that kind of thing, we didn't get the opportunity to talk about anything Black, to be honest. And, as a Black person in a large white school, that's kind of unfortunate because people don't really take the time to learn these things, and they don't really will learn unless you really make this accessible and make this knowledge, available for everyone to see.
Alice, I wanted to quickly touch on you. We got about 2 minutes before the break. What have been some positives as a teacher? How have you seen the Newfoundland Labrador education system?
Okay, so I will start from MUN, where I did my master's. For me, it was fantastic. Like, I had great supervisors, people who actually introduced me to the community. And one person that I'll mention is Dr. T.A. Lufla, who was my supervisor. She actually introduced me to the teaching field, gave me all the necessary tools that I needed, because it's kind of different from where I'm coming from and here. The Newfoundland education system has its own system, which whether you're Black or not, it's, I don't know, like it's applies to everybody. So for instance, getting a full-time job you have to do substitute teaching for a very long time before you get in, which is not just black teachers, it's for everybody. So that is the negative aspect of it, which happens to everybody. But apart from that, as a Black teacher, I've done substitute teaching, which I've been welcomed in so many schools. Like, when I go there, the lab is so much. Newtown Elementary, which is in Mount Pearl, I love that school. I've been to Vernier, which is also a great school. There are so many great schools out there which do welcome Black people, that we don't have issues being there. Yeah.
That's fantastic. So we're going to take a quick break, folks, and then we'll be right back. We'll be getting into some more deeper conversation with our panel. So see you all in a few minutes.
Your opinion matters, and we want to hear from you. Get in touch with us using our viewer feedback line, your direct connection to shaping the shows you love. It's easy. Just grab your phone, scan the QR code on your screen, and take our quick survey. Share your thoughts, and let's make your viewing experience even better.
Welcome back, everyone. Hopefully you got a chance to get a drink and are ready to settle back in. For those of you just tuning in, I am joined by a wonderful panel of 4 Black youth who are making a difference in our province in their respective ways. And we're getting back into the conversation. And the next question I have for you as a panel is, what initiatives or projects have you been involved in the community that create or celebrate Black history or the Black experience within Newfoundland and Labrador? And John, I think I want to start with you for that question.
Sure. First off, starting the Black Students Union at MUN, that's probably been my biggest achievement and most, I think, a little hopeful, I guess. It's like wholesome. And then expanding from that, I think being the chairperson for the Canadian Federation of Students, the Black Caucus there, because sometimes people view Blackness and the Black experience in Canada through one lens, and most typically like the Ontario large city lens, and they forget that Newfoundland has Black people, and we need to look at that, and we need to look at the Atlantic space and the Black people going through there and their issues. So bringing that to the fore has probably been my biggest contribution there.
Awesome. Francis, what about you? What have you celebrated or helped create?
I think for me, mostly it's just being involved in the BSA. I think the major goal for me becoming the president was to make sure that there are events for people to look up to. And then I'm very grateful with my team. We were able to bring events like the gala, which is just the main idea is to fundraise money for either helping someone with tuition, like this year we're fundraising to help with groceries. So we're going to have like a 2-day bank grocery thing, and so then come in, take some groceries that are lacking, which is very exciting. There's the Afro Fest to celebrate Black culture. There's a sport event to celebrate Black athletes in school, because I feel like those people are very neglected in the MUN space. And then little other events as well, career fair, tax information system, those things that I know that when you come to school you lack, because I didn't know how to file my taxes, even to now, I'm just starting over. I think those little events like this kind of help Black students to be more comfortable and more settled when you come to MUN. So yeah.
Alice, what about you?
So, I'm big on physical activity. And Newfoundland, if you are here and you just want to enjoy this province, you need to be outside. So, and it is one thing that our community, like our Ghanaian community or the Black community, really don't take advantage of. So I personally try to do, so with the help of Dr. T.L. Ofla, who is at MUN, we try to organize activities for the Ghanaian community. Like that is the community that I am directly in contact with. So we do that. And then of course we do get some Nigerians also to join. So the first one we did was a canoeing event, and we are also going to go on with a snowshoeing and skiing event next week. So basically that's what I do for the community.
And what about you, Wes?
So in my engineering program, I'm a part of a student-led organization called the National Society of Black Engineers, or NSBE for short. So NSBE is a global organization and has chapters in universities across North America. So I'm a part of the MUN chapter, and my role within this organization is the community engagement leader. So what I do is essentially I engage with students to help boost or nurture participation in a number of social events. So for example, we had Sip and Paint at the beginning of the semester so that our members just get to meet each other when they're new students, just get to know that there are other people like you in your program. Because when I came during the pandemic, so I didn't know anybody. I also didn't live on campus, so I had no friends who I saw looked like me, and so I was sort of going through the program by myself. But in addition to social events, we also host a number of professional development events and workshops. So for example, virtual career fairs, so that our Black students, but not just Black students, ethnically and racially marginalized students, because our Black population has not been that big in the past, but we sort of get to show them or expose them to a lot of these career development resources, because not all of us have had the training or access to some of these things that can help us land jobs, because at the end of the day, we are all trying to, grow our careers. Beyond engineering, I also like to, I'm not an executive with the BSA, but I have been a part of their events. I love to just go there, see other people in different programs, see what they do, try the food, because they have a wider variety of food available. There's a lot of really cool stuff that BSA does. And even outside that, one thing that I like to do personally is when I identify that there's spaces or organizations where there have not been, or there is very little Black representation, I'm like, okay, well, that's where I need to be, because Black people won't go there unless they see that there's a Black person there. And not everybody has that confidence or drive or initiative to put themselves in a space where nobody looks like them. So me being that person will, I guess, sort of motivate other people to join, so there will be Black representation in these spaces. So, yeah.
Absolutely. I really like that. And taking on that, I have a question. I'm going to start with John again, just because of when you started your education here in Newfoundland Labrador. But what can we do to cultivate a more welcoming, supportive environment and sense of community for Black youth within the province?
Right off the bat, the first thing, I guess, the three I would think of that I would love to have would have been, mental health supports. I would think education, and I do think that just overall community and spaces would have helped a lot. Sometimes, well, my experience being that only Black person in a high school full of white people, it's very daunting, and there's a bit of pressure coming with that, because where do you go, where do you look to? Not just that, are you being seen as yourself, or are you being seen as a representation of everyone? So that kind of is pressure to, I got to just represent not just me, but entirety of the Black community here. So having that mental health support would have helped a lot. A mentorship program would have been fabulous, showing people that, there is Black youth and, they need help, and they're going to make mistakes along the way, but, with guidance, we can make that seamless, I guess, transition to university or whatever field they pursue in the future smooth, rather than, a constant, trying to find your place, constant trying to find, your space again. So I think that would have really been fantastic. And overall, education, showing everyone that, Black people are here. Black history is not just Black history, it's Canadian history. That's very important to know. And overall, I think, just knowing that, the past isn't just slavery. I think that's a big part of it. Black History Month sometimes is trivialized a bit. People only want to focus on, 1802 to the 1900s, where, slavery was happening, but this is more to that, I think, and that would really benefit the youth as well.
Perfect. So Francis, I'm going to ask you, as a Black youth, what kind of things would you like to have seen in community that you think would have made it more supportive for Black youth who are living here now?
Okay, I think I was going to talk about my professional experience. I feel like what he said is so important. Especially when I got into the BSA, I feel like the one thing we always kind of Black History Month is always focus on the slavery part. But so I only say on my team that we're not in the 1900s right now. Let's focus on what is affecting us in the current state. So when it comes to other education, let's guide people in education. I feel like the first time I came here, I came during the winter semester, and usually the main semester is the fall semester. So the winter semester, we don't have a lot of guidance or anything. So something like, winter semester, let's have more activities there. Mental health is so important. I remember when I was talking to you about it, and you're like, you need to have a space. And you're like, okay, yeah, February, we should always stick kickstart it, and I kind of say, okay, every week of the February month, we're going to have a mental workshop, because I feel like people don't know, especially for me from Nigeria, that whole mental health thing is not really talked about, and people feel like, oh my God, is it taboo or is it a bad thing? But it's actually okay to feel depressed or feel anxiety or feel, anxious most of the time. It's not a demon, it's just something that is natural to you. And I feel like for me, little things that just creating a safe space for Black people would help, basically.
Perfect. So I'm going to ask the last question, and I want to get all your input on this. So as we look into the future, if someone were to ask you, I'm going to ask you, what are your hopes and dreams for the future of the Black experience within Newfoundland and Labrador? And Alice, I'm going to start with you.
Okay. Personally, I am just hoping that one day I will land that full-time teaching job in Newfoundland. This is where I belong. I love it here. I was away for 2 years just to get my PR, and I decided to come back. So I love it here. What I'm hoping for the community is to take advantage of the outdoors activity. Let's get out there. You made mention of mental health, and it's getting out, using the outdoor activities will help with mental health, and it's something we have to take advantage of. We shouldn't just coop ourselves in the house. get out and take advantages of activities. There's the PP Park has this winter activity center where you can rent out stuff and enjoy their skiing park showing. So please get out there and then get yourself involved.
Perfect. Wes, what about you?
I want to touch on something that Francis and John spoke about in the first round. First of all, I think you guys really hit the nail on the head. But in regards to mental health, obviously it's really important that Black youth, but people generally have access to these resources that are almost targeted at them. But I think we need to, well, what I hope in the future is that, for example, having access to counselors or doctors who can help you comes from people who also look like you. Because I feel like it's important to have people that understand your lived experience and will really have a better context of how to assist you or go about providing you the help or resources that you need. And generally also just hosting more spaces by Black people for Black people. So yeah.
Perfect. And either of you two, is there anything you'd like to add?
For the future, I hope we have more Black champions. Unfortunately, we're growing, which is great, but we don't have a catalog of people we can look to for inspiration. We shouldn't have to always rely on the same 4 people. Laurabel, doing a fantastic job, but I would like to see more people like yourself. So I think that would be a great vision for the future of Newfoundland, for example.
I think for me, basically just creating an event will make Black people very comfortable, like Black businesses, like opportunities for Black businesses, given what's it called? I don't know, career fairs, just making people know the opportunities they have in St. John's and what they can do to take charge of that.
I want to thank all of you for taking the time out of your days to share space with me, to share your stories with the province, to show the diversity that exists within the Black community, and to celebrate the good, the struggles we've all gone through, and to show what we're all hoping to achieve in the future. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to know each and one of you individually. Some of you I've known better than others, but this time and this space I'm very thankful for. And I can't wait to see what each of you does in the future. And we'll be right back, everyone.
Your opinion matters, and we want to hear from you. Get in touch with us using our viewer feedback line, your direct connection to shaping the shows you love. It's easy. Just grab your phone, scan the QR code on your screen, and take our quick survey. Share your thoughts, and let's make your viewing experience even better.
I want to thank all of you for tuning in and sharing time with me and our panel, getting to hear their diverse experiences as Black youth here in Newfoundland and Labrador. I invite you to join me every Wednesday through the month of February to tune in to our Black History Month content. I promise it will be exciting, enlightening, and a little bit more heartwarming. I can't wait to see you all again next time, and happy Black History Month once again.
We want to hear from you. Provide feedback on this show or find out how you can get involved. Call, email us, or scan the QR code to take our quick survey.
The Hit UK show is back with a brand new season.
I'm so happy to be back.
12 unusual suspects go undercover.
I was blown away.